important to do your own research analysis before making any investment based on your personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you find on our website or podcast and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise.
Let me ask you something, man.
Don't stop. I'm not finished yet.
Do you ever ask yourself,
Don't stop. I'm not
when are
finished
they ever
yet.
gonna stop? Do you ever ask yourself, when those bad boys are gonna stop making?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's morning time in New York City, but this is Kenny Coins with Marathon Money, and I'm sitting here with Malik. I did not bother to try to learn your last name, and I don't want to botch it, so you're gonna have to say
Oh,
it.
you're good. You're good, Kenny. I understand.
But you're the owner of Skyline Traders Club.
That's
am I
right.
correct?
Yes,
He's the owner of
I am.
Skyline Traders Club. I actually messaged him on Instagram. He's actually doing phenomenal things, man. Definitely somebody. You guys know me. I was a professional trader for a really long time, and just looking at his stuff, he's pretty accurate. He's pretty spot on. Very fundamental on his trading. And we're here to talk about stocks, tradings, futures, all this stuff that everybody wants to get into because they think they can make it big. But Malik is probably going to tell you it takes time.
Definitely. It's not an overnight thing. It is one of them industries that take a really long time. No matter, there's no way around it. You know.
So tell us what you trade, man. Tell us
Well,
the
I
methodology.
started my career off about 5 years ago at this point, actually. So I haven't been in the game as long as somebody like yourself, for example. But I started my career off trading primarily the forex market for the first 2 years. Then I dabbled in some options, and then I finally settled on futures, actually. Simply because I find it the easiest to trade. And whenever I was trading options, I was only trading SPY and QQQ. So I figured I might as well try out the E-mini NASDAQ and the E-mini S&P as futures contracts. And that's what I've been doing ever since. That's what I teach. And so primarily those two, although I will still swing trade certain Forex pairs like Euro USD. I just had a crazy swing trade happen on Euro USD because of the whole Ukraine-Russia thing that just happened. And that played out perfectly. So I will still swing trade certain currencies because I do think that with all the geopolitical stuff going on, it just makes sense.
So how much is those like news and fundamentals mean for you in that kind of space?
Yeah, well, I mean, when I'm trading intraday, so I have intraday trading accounts and I have swing trading accounts. So when I'm trading intraday, I don't pay as much, attention to micro and macroeconomics and geopolitical factors. And when I say intraday, I mean I open and close my positions typically within, anywhere between 1 and 15 minutes. That's what I mean by intraday trading. And when I say swing trading, they typically last anywhere between 2 or 3 days and up to a month. So when we're talking swing trading, it plays a huge role. It's basically all I look at. When we're talking intraday, it plays much less of a role and it's more technical based. But yeah.
So which one do you lean on the most? Like in a given week, are you intraday trading 3 times a week, or are you swing trading 3 times a week?
Well, I'm always updated on the market, and I do, look at the market every single day when it's open. So from Monday to Friday, and whenever there's intraday opportunities, I will take those. The swing trading stuff, I think I average one trade a month on my swing trading account. So definitely not as much, but the more I get into the game and the longer I've been here, the more I lean towards swing trading because it leaves me time to do other stuff, pursue other businesses in all these things, right? Especially if you're, a person who is getting into the trading scene and you have a full-time job, maybe you have kids. I would always recommend swing trading because it does not require a whole lot of time compared to intraday trading. So I nowadays lean more towards swing trading, but when I first started, I was heavily into intraday trading just because you sort of get addicted to the whole chart, and you get to place a lot more trades when you're trading intraday. And obviously that's not always a good thing, but
Yeah,
still energy. So
placing a lot of trades is it can lead to an unhealthy habit, and you can find yourself not having money in your account anymore real
yeah,
quick.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's very very difficult and very tough to discipline yourself when you're intraday trading.
Definitely, and I always say to people, the more you trade, the more you expose yourself to risk. So intraday traders simply just play a riskier game, and statistically, people also have a way better shot at making it through swing trading rather than intraday trading. Again, because you can implement fundamentals and all these things.
Man, so I know before the podcast we were talking about, I know you travel a lot, man, and you started doing this more full time. How is
Yeah.
that? How did you get to that point?
So, are you talking about how I transitioned from not being full time to being full time?
Yeah, not being full time to being full time and traveling and kind of
Yeah.
living the life that most people want to live.
Yeah, so it all started off. I had a regular job. I was a waiter before I started doing this, and it was full time. I was trading on the side, and as soon as I had made a decent amount of money, the more money I made, the more I cut my hours. So it ended up being full time down to only Saturday and Sunday because of the money I made. But I wanted to make sure that I had about 6 months worth of expenses saved up before I quit my job. And so when I had that, that's when I quit my job. But before that, I just cut hours and cut hours and cut hours, so I could focus more on trading itself. And eventually, it just ended up working out perfectly. I think I played my cards pretty right when it comes to quitting my job. I know some people that quit their job too soon because they got a lucky play here and there. And that can definitely end up in disaster. So I always recommend people have 6 months of expenses saved up at least in case things go wrong. You can still pay the bills. You can still get, provide food on the table and these sort of things. So that's how I went about it.
Man, that's amazing, man. That's a really strategic plan. Um,
Yeah, and
but
then go
so
ahead. Sorry.
what do you? It's Friday.
Uh-huh.
What do you see in the market today?
What I see in the market today, um, well, taking a look at the Nasdaq, I am anticipating a move higher from here on out. We've just had sort of a correction move happen on the daily chart, and overall, I want to see higher prices in the stock market when we're talking about the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. So I do remain bullish on the Nasdaq as of right now. Um, and then, as I said, I just shorted the euro, and I actually bought the dollar as well, simply because of the whole Ukraine Russia thing. They just fired a missile towards Russia, and as we know, when there's uncertainties in Europe, investor sentiment tend to pull their money away from the euro and pump it into dollar. We saw the exact same thing happen when Russia invaded Ukraine not super long ago. The euro was actually worth less than a dollar at one point. So, sort of the same analogy used there, used this time as well. So, but I do see the American stock
How do you
market.
think the war is going to play out, and how do you think people can make money? I see that you're making money by shorting the euro,
Mhm.
and then obviously putting more money towards the dollar. What stocks out there or future plays that you see people can take hold of?
So actually, when we're talking about Europe, I only trade US related assets when it comes to the stock market. So as far as the Ukraine Russia thing, I wouldn't use that as a fundamental reason to either long or short the Nasdaq, in my opinion, or the S&P 500. That's when I sort of dabble into metals, for example. They're safe haven assets. So uncertainty typically makes gold and silver and all these metals rise. So that's how I would personally capitalize off of uncertainty. We also see it during election year, for example, which we've just had. We had a huge rally on gold because when there's election, there's uncertainty, and when there is uncertainty, people tend to pivot towards the safe haven assets, which again is gold. So during uncertain times, anywhere in the world, really, I would always bet my money on precious metals like gold, silver, platinum, these sort of things. So less on the stock market and actually more towards the safe haven assets such as gold and those kind of things is what I'm interested in.
Man, I gotta ask you about Bitcoin because
Oh
uncertainty
yeah,
also make Bitcoin rise. Also
yes.
makes cryptocurrency goes up. Right now, Bitcoin is, I don't think it has touched 100K yet.
Not
Uh,
quite. 99.
like 99,418 was the high that I see. It hasn't
Yeah,
touched 100K yet. I don't know if you hold any Bitcoin. I hold Bitcoin.
I do as well.
I had it for a really long time. But let's talk about that, man. What do you think? We got an uncertainty in Ukraine and Russia.
Hmm.
The U.S. market is really loving Bitcoin because of Donald Trump, and they're. I don't know if you noticed that we're planning on to buy like 20%.
Yeah, I've seen it. And I think the future for Bitcoin is looking extremely, extremely beautiful. I think it's sad that people think they're too late to the party. I think that if people's time horizon is long enough, I think Bitcoin is going to a million and above. So I do think that Bitcoin has the potential to 10x simply because of the global crypto adoption is going absolutely nuts. And we have a pro crypto presidency now, which is, has obviously already been extremely beneficial for Bitcoin itself. And there's just so much around Bitcoin that I think it has endless upside potential. It's in my opinion the best asset to use as a hedge against inflation. I think certain governments are starting to pick up on this. We see a lot of governments starting to participate in Bitcoin, and that makes all the other governments start to feel FOMO and they start buying it. We have Trump starting to, he wants to
Yeah,
open
pump
a
it.
whole crypto role for the
Yeah,
president, like White
it-
House. It's crazy,
it's crazy. And I think the biggest government, if we're talking about government, that really capitalized is El Salvador, right?
Yeah, El
Yeah,
Salvador is going
like they
crazy.
went from utterly nothing to
Yeah.
a million man army to completely less than 2% crime, arrested all the gangs based off of investing in Bitcoin. They got in like
Yes.
at 20,000. You
That
know what I
that's
mean?
that's the thing.
I think they're
And
like,
other countries around that will see that and then they'll say, well, if it worked out for them, why doesn't it work out for us? And they'll start participating in it as well. And it's just an upward spiral from there, which is again that FOMO thing that we're talking about. And Germany was actually a perfect example of this because they sold their Bitcoin, which was a $1 billion mistake, right? And that obviously uh, inspires other governments to hold on to their Bitcoin because they don't want to lose billions by selling their Bitcoin. I think it has endless upside potential, really.
and to talk about government, I think El Salvador, I know back in 2021 they had over 12,000 bitcoins. They only have 5,748 bitcoins left as of September 17, 2024.
Mhm.
So that just tells you they're probably in the billions right now.
Yeah, definitely.
Easy in the billions. But like they you know what I mean, their debt significantly decreased.
Mhm.
They took advantage. So that just tells you that's probably going to be in the history books one of those countries that jumped into crypto, did something right, pulled their money out, build their country back up. So there's going to, I think personally is going to maybe 10, 15x on
Yeah.
Bitcoin. Me personally, I think there's going to be people's always like, oh, it's too late now. No, dude, if you've been watching Bitcoin since 2012, you already know there's always massive amount of pullbacks. Always
Yeah.
massive amount of pullbacks, like 20, 30,000 point
Exactly.
pullbacks. There's like massive. There's plenty of time to get in. And then there's times where Bitcoin stays at the same price for 6, 8 months and don't move. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fluctuate between $2,000 to $10,000, and then it stays there for 6, 8 months. That's accumulation season to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. Same. And we just had that happen. Really, we had. Let me take a look. We had Bitcoin consolidating from March 24 until about September, November, when we finally broke out. And that's market behavior. That's how it moves. It moves from
Yeah.
consolidation to
So am I
expansion.
right? 6 to 8 months. It's like
Yeah.
that's really when it consolidates for a really long time. And I feel like
Mhm.
that's enough time for you to really put, even if you was one of, I'll even put it as say, even if you did $1 a day, you know what I mean?
You
The
know.
returns will still be massive. Like 100, even if 25 or $100 a
Yeah.
month. You know what I mean? Because right
Definitely.
now, we're still in the infancy stage of all this, and the fact that you can buy small portions of Bitcoin
Mhm.
is what makes it a humongous difference. The fact that you can
Right.
buy small portions, you not have to buy a whole coin. You don't have to. It's not like the
No,
stock
no.
market where you have to buy a whole share. You can buy portions of Bitcoin and work your way up and still make a massive return.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And you know, I just want to tell people that I remember people thought they were too late to the party when Bitcoin was at 10K, 20K, 30K. People are always going to think that they're too late, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
we got a
but
long way to
really,
go, man. We got a long way to go. The
we
adoption is
do.
still not there. We're still in the early adopter stage of Bitcoin. But man, the switching, man. What stocks do you like, man? You know, a lot of tech stocks are coming to the rise. You know, Nvidia, probably the biggest name of this year, semiconductors. Tesla, another Tesla's skyrocketed, went from 251 to 330. I had it. I sold it. I was like, I'm over 400% on it. That skyrocketed at, like after Trump won. What Coinbase went crazy. What do you think? What is
I
your domain on this?
Yeah, I think the tech stocks obviously have huge upside potential, and I actually long Tesla before Trump was elected because I saw no way that Tesla was not going to benefit from this, especially with how involved Elon is with the whole thing. I mean, we see Elon running around everywhere with Donald Trump, and it ended up paying off super well. But really, I don't hold that many stocks. I like to, for example, on Nvidia, I like to play earnings. So I like to trade earnings on Nvidia in these tech companies, but I don't actually hold onto a stock for super long. Simply because I like crypto way more when it comes I think the return on crypto is just too good not to say yes to, essentially. So I dabble a lot more nowadays in the crypto market rather than the stock market when we're talking about longer term. But I will still, for example, when the opportunity is there, long a stock if or short a stock if the opportunity is there. But I rarely hold on to a stock for super long. So
So let's talk about crypto then. Let's get back into it. So crypto is like a lot of these cryptos are like tokens.
yeah,
And the problem is it's so easy to create tokens nowadays. So how are you dissecting which ones are beneficial and actually going to be profitable or actually going to make a return for you? Or you just technical analyst, that's it, volume, you know what I mean, who's coming in, who's coming out. Once you see volume going up, you're jumping in, or you're shorting once you see volume coming down. What's like what are you doing to be able to tell?
I like sticking to the main ones. I hold a lot of Solana still, which we also just had a huge move on. Actually, I still hold a lot of Bitcoin as a longer term investment, and I also trade Bitcoin intraday wise. I actually called out a Bitcoin long from 68 to 100K. So that's still rolling, and hopefully that's about to be taken off here in the next few days. But yeah, I think sticking to, because again, crypto is very unregulated, and like you said, anyone can create anything. We actually just saw, I don't know if you saw it, but recently we had a lot of meme coins explode to the whole retail industry. We had people come into crypto that never heard about it because these meme coins were going crazy, and these were TikTok meme coins. So whatever meme was trending on TikTok, people created a token for that. And I mean, we've just seen a millionaires being created within the last few days because of meme coins. Um, but meme coins specifically is a very hot topic right now. And a lot of people make a lot of money, but a lot of people lose a lot of money as well, right? The difference between a meme coin and an asset like Bitcoin is uh, meme coins hold no value. They're there for fun. That's why they're called meme coins, right? We have a few examples of Doge and Pepe and stuff that absolutely went parabolic, but rarely will meme coins hold um, or really keep going more than a week. Then they'll go to zero. So it's very fast money in crypto, especially if you are looking in meme coins. But again, anyone can create it, and therefore you have to be very careful. And when it comes to regular crypto altcoins, to either Ethereum or Bitcoin, research the project. Are they doing what they're supposed to do? Does the project seem like it has any longevity to it? That's really what I do when I research my cryptocurrencies. But again, altcoins are going to follow Bitcoin 99% of the time, right? So the majority of the time you're pretty set if you are trading in a bull market. Of course, we see a lot of crypto influencers fall off during a bear market because they do not know how to operate within those parameters. But in a bull market, it's very hard to go wrong with crypto, in my opinion.
You know what I mean? I said this before. When Trump was first got elected, the market was going crazy. Like it was, you can throw $1 at any stock and it would just, you would get like almost 25-30% return. Same thing for crypto. Probably the next 4 years probably gonna be the same. I'm probably gonna ask you later on, do you think the next 4 years is gonna be the same as the previous 4 years he had, according to making money in the stock market, making money in crypto? But back to what I'm trying to get to with the people that when the bear market happens, you see a lot of traders and people that claim name investors. The bear market hit, you never hear from them again. And people don't know how to navigate. And what we tell people on this podcast, which we have tell people for years, is you don't need to be a trader. What you need to do is you can easily become a millionaire just by 15-20% profit getting out. Once you make 15-20% profit, get out, reset yourself, and risk management. The whole thing is about risk management. And a lot of people don't know how to, when a bear market happens, don't know how to navigate in that, because there's in a bear market, there is stock still going up. Is you got to figure out why we're in a bear market. That's number one. Number two, once you figure out why you're in a bear market, there's going to be stocks going up. And then you're going to also notice these stocks are going down because of the situation in the bear market. And that's when you should change yourself to being a short position player. And a lot of people don't know how to go from being a buy to being a seller and learning how to short. Shorting is actually pretty easy. It's opposite of buying. It's not really anything difficult. You can set your account up to do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the exact same thing, but it's the human mind that plays tricks on us because we are just used to buying things, not selling things. But in reality, it is the exact same thing. You could quite literally, invert your chart on TradingView or wherever you trade, and it would be the exact same thing as long. And what I always tell people when we're in a bull market and a bear market is, when we're in a bull market, I am long biased until the higher time frame like seriously tells me that we're no longer in a bull market. Until that happens, I'm coming into every single day expecting higher prices. And then when the market tells me that we are ready to be bearish and we see, a stock or an index fund or a currency simply just, dive, that's when I flip into my bear market mind. And then I play the exact same thing as I would if we were in a bull market. There's no difference except the candlesticks are green when it's a bull market and they're red when it's a bear market, right?
Man, 100%. Same way I think it's, you gotta wait for confirmations. A lot of people don't wait for confirmations. They think playing, I want to be ahead. There's very few times where being ahead of the game actually makes you money. For example, if you got into Bitcoin at $1, okay, good, you're ahead of the game. You made money, but 90%, I'll drop it down to 80% of the time, you're gonna make way more money and consistent money if you just wait for confirmation.
Yeah, definitely.
You gotta way more money, because a lot of times by the time that confirmation comes, you already blew your account.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and as you said earlier, it's really all about risk management. That's all it comes down to. If your risk is not in check, you're not going to survive. It's simple as. What I see a lot of people do in the bear market is refuse to believe that a certain asset can actually go down for that long. So they try to catch the bottom and bottom and bottom, and it just never bottoms. So they keep, blowing up instead of just accepting that, okay, maybe this is actually just going to go down. Let me just follow, everybody else, just like I would in the bull market, right? So that's the main issue I see in a bear market, is people refusing to believe that it can actually go down, and it can't go down for a long time.
And you can't go against the grain, against the market. I try to tell people the market will take your money. Like if you're market, don't trust me, it will take it. Like it has no remorse, no feelings. It will take it and it will walk away from you. It's like
Yeah, definitely.
it's very cold out there. You got to find a way to make it warm.
Yeah, 100%. And as you just
So
said, I mean, the easiest way to profit in any market really is to follow everybody else. Like, look at the market and trade with the market and not against it, right? It seems very it's very easy to want to short our market because obviously if you catch it at the right time you can make an immense amount of money, like the big short, right, for example, but that just does not happen very often, so it's just not worth it.
that's that's my point. Like the
Yeah,
big shorts, like those are like rarities. Like
yeah,
those are just like they're like the 20%. Like to me, it's like those are rarity. That's guy who's doing, and then you got to think about it. How much research did he do? It's
yeah,
like
he did. I
he
mean,
didn't he didn't just look at a chart and say, "Look, okay, cool. I think that's gonna go down soon." No, there was a whole year's worth of research, and
yeah, definitely.
he figured it out. It's not like it's not easy. It's almost better just to wait for confirmation. It's 100% better just so once you get that confirmation, boom, then move. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and let's say you could end up catching a trade like the guy in Big Short. I almost want to guarantee that you're gonna lose more than you're gonna gain by trying to get there. So let's say you end up getting it, the money that you lost trying to get there is not gonna be. You're not gonna make more if the short actually ends up playing out, right?
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it in my
If
opinion.
you actually like in the movie, it only shows him like losing like $2 million, like before like it actually turned around. But like in real life, he was like down like 30 million before it
Yeah, if
actually
not even
turned
more. I
around.
mean, it was
Yeah,
billions. He was betting against the market with billions, right? And
yeah.
and and, and it was
So
investors' money too. It was
yeah, that's
luckily it
what.
played out for him. It could have went a
Yeah,
lot, could have went very wrong. Uh, which it
yeah,
will 99% of the time for everyone else. So
yeah. That's what I'm saying. Those are just you're better off waiting for confirmation. It's like people would tell me, "Oh man, I can make way so much money if I can get there before everybody else." To be honest with you, man, it's like unless you have $1 billion, it's like there's not much more you're gonna make.
no,
Maybe like
definitely
an
not.
extra 5, 7, 8%, 9%, but you're probably gonna make a good just wait. You're gonna make a good 40, 50%. And that's phenomenal.
Yeah,
That is phenomenal. Like
yeah,
people don't making 20% consistently is phenomenal, and people don't realize that how like if you can make 20% 7 out of 10 times consistently, like yo, like it won't take you that long before you become a full-time trader, and it definitely won't take you that long to have $1 million in the bank if you can do that
no.
consistently 20%.
And that's a good topic. I think a lot of investors, are set up for failure because of social media. They don't understand what realistic returns are, right? These people are aiming for 5, 7, 10% daily. It's just not doable. It just isn't, right? If anyone was making that type of money, they would have the most successful hedge fund in history, right? It just doesn't, it's not realistic, right? I think a lot of people come into the space with the wrong intentions, and that really causes them to fail because they are trying to get these insane returns that are just super unrealistic, right? I mean, statistically, 99% of traders cannot even beat the S&P 500 on a yearly basis, which is 7.5 something percent, right? So do not try to aim for 7% on a weekly basis. I mean, if you're just beating the S&P 500,
Yo,
you're doing a really good
you for
job.
saying that, man. It's like
Yeah.
people will try to say like, "Oh, I can make 30% every week," and I look at them. It's like
Yeah.
that's not happening. You're like you're not doing that every week. You
No,
know what I mean?
definitely not.
Unless you're doing like 30 trades and you got like $5 million in a bank, and then at least you're losing half of those trades trying to make 30% every week, and you're only showing us the ones you win.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. I
just
mean, it's
not
just
it's
not
just
been
not
done in
realistic.
history.
You know what I mean? It's not realistic. The if you can, like I'm saying, if you can get yourself to consistently make, you know, at least between 10 to 20% consistently with small amount of trading, risk management. Every trade you're like, okay, I made 10 trades, 12 trades this month. Risk management, I'm cutting my losses at 1%, 2%, taking my wins at 10 to 15%. You're doing 10, 15, 20%. You're doing phenomenal. You're doing
Right.
phenomenal.
And I'm currently with a team, of course, in the process of building a track record for an investment management firm that I do want to that's something I want to pursue later on. And we aim for about 5 to 6% on a monthly basis, right? Sometimes less, sometimes a little more, but that, in my opinion, is a realistic target for me and my team, right? And
That's
what you see,
extremely, extremely realistic.
right?
That is somebody you can, like, we like to put it this way. You want to work, the guy you want to manage your money is the guy that gets up at 5 a.m. every morning, puts on his protect, has a collared shirt, gets on the treadmill, walks for 30 minutes, read for an hour, and then head into work. And
Yeah,
he tells you every day, you know what? I can promise you 5 to 6, 7% a month. That's about it. And then
exactly.
every month he comes back and he gives you 11%. And every next month, this was just a lucky month.
Yeah,
Those are the people you want on your team. It's just
exactly.
because it's uh, trading should be mundane.
It should.
It
It should
shouldn't
be
be exciting.
boring.
It
It should
shouldn't.
be the it should not be fun. It should be
Yeah,
mundane, boring,
main
everything. It's
thing.
not
That's
supposed to be fun.
yeah. We get on here because like okay. You have made a big trade.
Mhm.
I remember my first humongous trade where I made like 400%. Like you
Mhm.
go crazy and you get excited the next day and thinking that you're gonna do this again.
Yep,
The chances of you doing that again for at least throughout the year, it's like less than 1%. They're just like it's not gonna happen. And
exactly.
when people say like, "Oh, I can do that over and over again," no, you can't. The
No,
market wouldn't even give you the opportunity because most opportunities are between 1 to 5%, 1 to 7%. That's
yeah,
why I
I
said like
mean,
yeah. That's why I said like if you take 10 trades and you're profitable 7 out of those 10 trades, you're doing good.
yes, absolutely. I mean, listen, traders, no matter whether they trade intraday or whatever they do, they're not going to be right more than 50, 60, 70% of the time,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And it comes with time accepting that you are going to be wrong 30, 40% of the time. But as you said, when you're coming up and you have a big play, a huge trade, it can really actually cause you more harm than
And
good. Uh,
100%,
yeah,
100% causing way more harm than good. And I kind of want to set this, make sure everybody has the right mind and frame is like those 30, 40%, even if you're like 50%, what's going to make the other 50% losses small if your risk management is superb,
yeah,
discipline. You're, you know what? 1%, I'm out. 2%, I'm out. You know what I mean? You're not waiting to 5, 6, 10% loss and then get out. You're getting out quickly. You're moving it out of the trade. You realize, you know what? I lost it. Fine. I'm over it. Done. You know what I mean? Lock in your profits. If you see yourself get past 5%, lock in your profits. You know what I mean? And then let the rest ride. That's how
it-
I that's how I do it. And if you can do that 7 out of 10 trades, 5 out of 10 trades and mitigate your risk, you're going to be more than perfectly fine.
definitely. And I mean, you're absolutely right. It's funny because I read a book called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, famous psychologist. He's the
Yes,
man, right?
he's the man.
And he has interviewed some of the best traders of all time. And it's funny because a lot of people do not actually know when the biggest losses occur for these traders. It's very, very often right after their biggest win, right? Because what tends to happen is people start to operate off of euphoria instead of logical thinking, and they start to think that they are the man, they can't lose, and they up their size, and it's just a disaster. And that's what I meant by it can do you more harm than good, because statistically you're about to have your biggest loss if you do not know how to manage your emotions, right? And obviously that comes with
Oh,
time.
ego
Yeah,
builds up when you win big, man. And that's why we go back to what we were saying, man. It got to be mundane. It got to be boring.
yeah,
You know what I
definitely.
mean? It's and that's why I give it props to the people that's like, if you tell people like, oh, 5, 6, 7% every month, 8% every month, and like only a guy like me was like, he's doing 5, 6, 7, 8% consistently, maybe like 10 out of 12 months. Oh yeah, he's extremely profitable.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because people don't realize like over time, let's say you start out with 5 grand, you know what I mean? In 3 years' time, you have half a million.
Yeah,
Now that 5, 6%, 7%, 8% that you're consistently making every month, even if you might hit 10%, might hit 20%, you know what I mean?
hmm,
Um, that money behind it, you're probably making almost like 5, 7, 8 grand, 9 grand. And people don't realize that. It's like they
exactly.
hear the percentage, but like it's like you don't know what kind of money he's playing with.
Exactly. It could be anything. And something I want people to really understand too, especially people who are starting out, right? And maybe want to transition into full time is trading or investing is never going to be linear, right? It's just never going to be linear. Just because you made, $10,000 this month does not mean you're going to go ahead and make 10,000 or 15,000 the next month. You could be making 1,000 the next month, or even lose money, right? And that was just something that came to my head that I had the wrong approach to when I first went full time. Is with any other business, it's more reasonable to believe that it's a little bit more linear, but with trading specifically, you never know what to expect really, because you could have an amazing month and then you could have the worst month right after, and that's why I recommend that people have at least 6 months of expenses saved up. Just something I remember, because I remember me thinking that, oh, I had my first $5,000 month here. That means the next month, it's going to be crazy, and it's just not going to happen. It's the wrong business you're in.
Yeah, I try to. That's why like the percentage matters. It's like your goal is
Hmm.
every month. You know what I mean? When you're in a trade, your goal is okay. My goal is I'm in this trade. You know, once I see 10%, 12%, I'm out. Once I see 15%, I'm out. Whatever, like that particular trade, you bought into a stock at like $5, it goes up to 650, I'm out. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Don't try to say let it run, or locking your profit. Put your stop gain right there. You know what I
Yes,
mean? If you got, that's how you stay. You have to stay disciplined in the wins as well. It's like you
definitely.
got to be disciplined in the wins. Thinking you can let things run without like a stop gain. It's like you bought something at $5 and you tell yourself, once it hits $6, I'm out. Right? So that means that you might not be out, but you put your stop gain, and then if it goes to $8, you just keep moving up your stop gain. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And that's how you have to play. But you have to be disciplined in your wins, and you have to be extremely disciplined in your losses as well. And because even if it runs up to 30%, but when we're saying 10, 5, 10, 15, 20%, it's like we're telling you to put your stop gains there. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You should automatically want to do that. You shouldn't be like, oh, if I put my stop gains there, if it stops me out, and then it returns, I might lose money. So what? Take your profit and go.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I recommend to people always. I mean, the first thing you want to look for when you are in profit, in any trade really, is to make sure that the initial risk is taken off, right? Because the worst thing in the world is being right and then that turning into you losing money, right? And again, it all comes with time. In the beginning, obviously, you think you're the luckiest man in the planet, right? You think you can catch a stock at $2 and ride it to 60. I mean, it's just not going to happen, right? Um, so yeah, you're absolutely right. Risk management is everything. Make sure that the initial risk is taken off if you are, if you caught the right side of the market, and you do that consistently, and it's up from there. But it lies way more in risk management, and not so much in technical analysis or fundamental analysis. Really, I mean, you could pretty much be profitable with anything if your mind is in check, and as well as your risk management. The other two parts, fundamental and technical analysis, are actually the less important parts of investing and trading, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. Risk and
Yeah.
management is really the most important. Rich, I think risk management is the most important, and learning how to take your profits off the table is the second most important. You
Yes.
have to learn those two. I think you got those two down packed, and you was just like, you know what? I'm a 7-8% profit guy. I'm locking in my profit at 7-8%. I'm a 5% profit guy. I'm
Hmm.
locking my profits at 5%. My stop gain will be at 5%. Once it gets 5%, I'm out.
Yes.
You know,
That's the best way to go about it.
yeah.
Definitely.
So I want to talk about before we get off Skyline Traders Club. I know we talked about it a little bit in the beginning.
Mhm.
Man, tell me what goes on in your club.
So essentially, I'll give you the backstory as to why I even started an education firm. So I was trading about 2.5, 3 years full time before I started any educational business or any business. Next to trading, I was trading full time for a while. And although this may sound or seem off, it could get really lonely in a way. Obviously everybody wants to, and a lot of people probably hate me for saying this, but it actually can be quite rough because you are not providing any value. You're clicking buttons on a screen and making money. No value is you're not providing any value. You're not talking to any people. You're in your room clicking buttons and making money. That can become pretty tough mentally. It's not nice, and it actually caused me a burnout. Um, and then that caused me to want to pursue education a little bit more because I saw the freedom that trading had given me, and I knew that if I was going to continue to pursue this profession, I had to find a way to light that spark again. And I lit that through my educational firm because all of a sudden I could see my students start to succeed. I got feedback from people. I understood that I'm actually helping people here on a financial level, right? I'm almost providing food on their table for these people, and it was just an amazing feeling. And so that's the reason why I actually started the educational firm. And what we do is I have a bunch of videos in there for all the members that they can, take a look at, go over, explaining exactly how I view the market. And so they get an idea of how I view and trade the different markets. Then I do live stream sessions every single day at New York Open for my intraday trading accounts. I'm not necessarily going to be trading every single day, but it's to give people a chance to ask me the questions that they have, because one of the most important parts in this whole business is having some sort of accountability partner, which I am to a lot of people. And I remember having tons of questions left unanswered when I first started, and I wanted to make sure that my students at least did not, sit at home with a bunch of questions that they could not ask anyone. And then I do one-on-one mentoring, which is also included in whatever membership they have. So I don't charge extra for one-on-one sessions. I dedicate a lot of time to my students that I have, where I have a talk just like you and me here, with a chart pulled up, and they sort of give me, either questions about the videos or just questions in general. We go over it, and yeah, I love it, man. I absolutely love it.
You got to do one of those one-on-ones on Marathon Money. Just go over charts. You know what I
That'd
mean?
be that'd be that'd be a good time. Yeah.
Have you come on here. Definitely, we can have something live on the platform. Give everybody 2 weeks notice. We get a ton of people. Definitely would love to have you on here and come and do that. If you have some spare time, we can schedule that out, man. I'd love to do this for the people that listen to Marathon Money. We got a ton of them, so
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think
I would love
everybody
to.
would
I
love
mean, let's figure it
it.
out.
Yeah, definitely. Man, dude, I love what you're doing. It's amazing. There's very few people that can do it well and actually show fundamentals and actually show like actually a pathway to do
Mhm.
it. You know, what I mean, there is a million different ways to make $1 million. That I always say that there is a million
You're
ways to
right. I
make $1 million,
mean,
and you find yourself a pathway to do it. And your pathway might not be for everybody, but I always believe when you show somebody a pathway, that can create another pathway to make the same results. and
100%.
and just because they're learning from you can develop other skills and other, and because they're creative, everybody's creative, and they can come up with their creative way because of you, and you might be the guy who starts that for them.
You're
So
right,
man,
man.
Malik, I really appreciate you coming on. guys, I just want to let you know I have two CEOs, two publicly traded CEOs that's going to be on the show. LGMK Logic Mark, they're doing really well. Also OXBR, they're going to be on the show as well. Those are the two sticker symbols. Also, I have a couple others that's already on the website. Please check us out. Join Marathon Money Plus. Become a Vanguard Collective member, and also, man, take a look at Skyline Traders Club. Because
I appreciate it a lot, Kenny, and thank you so much for having me on, man. It's my pleasure, really. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Everybody, peace. Have a great weekend.